Hello, listeners. Hi, my name is Madhavi, and I'm so happy to have you on Upptalk. You have come to the right place if you want to learn about IT and do really cool things with your hands. We are not just another IT company when I say Upptalk. Think of us as your learning partner dedicated to helping you reach your full potential. We have top notch hands on courses to help you build your business, whether you are new to technology or want to move up in your current job. Let's look around this as our first step towards learning.
In hierarchy, we will be just creating two tables. One would be storing the relationship and the other table will be sorting our data. You can say it would be kind of an employee database where we will be having three types of employee records. One would be manager, second one would be lead, and third would be an employee or a developer. That kind of a way we will be having a hierarchy of the same thing. And how we will be able to create that a hierarchy in those three steps in provisioning tool, how we will be able to see those things. That is something that we will be seeing. The provisioning tool part, we will be seeing once we will be starting the provisioning tool. But as hierarchy is a four-step process, first thing is how to be in those four steps, and then later on the queries and packages. We will be going ahead and doing that in later on sessions. For that, as you stated, that match and merge process. In the match and merge process, when history is enabled, edge merge is history of merged records that will be stored over here. You can see over here merge date and unmerged date, operation IDs and all are being stated. Match is one of the table where it will be stated that which particular row ID is matched with which particular row ID with which row. We have created three rules or two rules. In both those rules, which particular rule it was being matched and how much score it was being added up. If it was an auto merge or if it was manual merge, those kind of things will be stored over here. Script table will be stored. Ajay, in match table, do you have any data over there? You took. It would be just you are talking about the tokens. Tokens will be stored and no tokens. That also I want to know. I was asking about. Like here, we will be able to see which row ID has got merged to which other row ID, which is the original. I mean, what to say? Say A is getting merged to B. The survivorship one, which will be in the base object, and all the others will be in cross-reference. This row ID object will be the main row ID object, which you will see in base object. That is a win. These would be those and the row ID user, which user has gone ahead and done the match process that has been listed down over here. If any match has been done, you have to go ahead and unmerge that record. Due to any reason that this match, diverse indicator will be populated. Match score, how much percentage of match it had for these two row. ID objects to those things, and if there is a task which was been assigned for merging Marvel words. That will be populated over here. You can see that what all are nullable. All those like this, all these are nullable attributes. Except this auto merge indicator which has a default and these two because this one will be the winner one and this one is the earlier one and original row ID object which will be matched. This one is, you can say, once the data has been matched, the row ID object becomes a different one later on. But in the cross-reference, what would be the original row ID object for that particular record? It might happen that the record which got merged, you went ahead unmerged that particular record and then you go ahead and merge that record with some other record. There would be another row, ID object for that, and it would be stating that this record was first matched with this one, but later on this record has been shifted to this. This is a, you can say, indirect process of match and merge when there is a merge and then later on a merge happened with that particular record. It will be populated in those areas. This original row ID object, you'll see in cross-reference as well this one. That will be populated over there. PCDL and CDL tables are there for which particular row ID object will get created, and this is when we'll get updated. Any data which is getting created or updated, those row ID objects with the creator name or the, you can say, updated person, the user will be stored. That's it. It doesn't store anything. Whereas the stub table will be storing your token, that is S8. Token, when you say I didn't get that, which token is basically which will be generated for match and merge, like the column one. Over here, that will be generated. If we look into this stub table, we will be able to see all the tokens. Correct. You can see over here, or you can just go over here in the table directly, and in the match key distribution, you can see all the tokens over here. You can go ahead, click on each token whichever will be generated for any of the records. You can just click on that and you'll be seeing all that table. Is it something like, does it contain all the tokens? It will be all the tokens for this particular table. Then we see NVXR for validations. This is a history table which I even have less idea about because this is something which I never utilized. A little bit less idea about it, to be very honest. After this one, like the hierarchy management in the provisioning tool, there would be certain number of things which are conceptual. That is like when do they have to be utilized, situational based. That is something that you have to understand. Most of the things would be exactly similar. How to create those things, how to add the fees and all those things. That will take a less number of time, but to create them it takes time. But to understand them, that is like if you are understanding one single part, how to create it, you will be able to understand 4 different things, how you will be able to create. In provisioning tool, the major factor is when to create, what to create. Any other questions for maths and notch? Now nothing from me. No problem. Basically, these are simpler. If we understand, then to create it. Basically, we understood that when the path will be required. If the path is not required, then we will just go ahead, create maths columns and maths rules. That is pretty easy stuff, how to create it. The major part to understand in the maths and notch, why I took it in a separate session was to make you understand that what is the major background analysis or background work which Informatica does. because once you understand that, then you will be knowing that these things will work accordingly. For hierarchies, I just give you steps. If you want, you can go ahead and write down, or do you want to have a screenshot of this? You can take the screenshot for the maths and notch what we do and what not, because this is something which I just wrote down yesterday itself while explaining you guys. This exact words, you won't find it anyway. If you want, I can go ahead and do it like this. Format font. I will just go ahead to this part. Control. Go ahead and make it 18. If you want to go ahead and do a screenshot of it, you can go ahead and do that. Let me know if we can go ahead and remove this, and we will go ahead and do the history part. Well, not history, the hierarchy part. In history, you can see there is an anti icon and all those things. When you go ahead in a Scratch project and there is nothing which is being created, nothing means over here the main configuration or main tables which is required for internal process for hierarchy to be created is these three tables. Once these three tables are created, how that is created? If you don't have these three tables and if you just click on hierarchies, that will ask you that the tables are not created. The entity icons are not there. You just press yes, and there would be only two pop-ups which will be coming up, and afterwards you will see these icons over here and these three tables which will be created. RPO class utilizes your entity, objects, and relationship. A rel type will be utilized for creating the relationship type, and it will be storing those data. Hierarchy will store your hierarchies, which we will be creating over here. Relationship, object that will be stored as data into RPO relation. Rel type, hierarchies and hierarchy and entity, object in RPO class. It's basically the data it will be storing, relationship kind of thing. First thing is we'll be going ahead and creating entity objects. There are two ways to create entity objects. First is entity objects which are necessary. There are two ways to create it. One is to convert. Second is to create. How we can do that? Just go over here. I'll just acquire the log click. You can see convert base object to entity or relationship object. Foreign key relationship object and new relationship or entity objects. We'll go ahead and we'll create new. These two, both are the same. This is for converting it. You just go ahead, select which one you want to. Go ahead and do it, create it for and this foreign key relationship object. You just modify a base object and you create. How many foreign keys you want to? For this you want to have an entity. Object needs to be created. First is we go ahead and create a new entity. It's the same thing which we created. But you can see over here it is creating a foreign key relationship directly with the class. We'll just go ahead and create entity objects, as you will say. This is what we get. It will go ahead, create a base object for us. Thus, EO employees you'll see over here. Everything which is needed will be already done. State management done. If you want history, then you'll go ahead and enable history for that. Otherwise, it will be all done. When you go over here, you'll see one extra attribute which is created and one extra relationship which will be created for BO class. And these one I can just show you over here. We'll just go ahead, HM packages and BO class, and you can see again, showcase you. Earlier I had some data over here because I created few tables. You can see consolidation indicator settings and display name BIO class. All those things are there. Now we just created. These are entity types which are there. You can see deleted app. All these are deleted already. In the put package, put and all we have to create for deleting all these records over here. And we can see all those things. In the hierarchy manager package, I can create for other display packages for. I just created a group, I think. It would be for rel type RPO. These are class codes. It's the rel type. All the settings. Because we have already created those things, hence you are able to see these. You can see it created. I've already created those. You can see hierarchy which we created. I went ahead and deleted all those things. In the hierarchy, you just create only a single hierarchy, but you create multiple relationship type. And that you will be able to see in a single hierarchy. You will be able to get multiple hierarchy, which will be there. How we go ahead and create between two different tables. Like over here, we have created one single employees table. We can go ahead and create another table as well. And the relationship between this table and that table will set, create, or we will store it in a different table altogether. And for the recursive relationship, we will have a separate relationship table. Then only we will be able to create relationship. Over here, we have created these. In the same way, we will go ahead and create a relationship type object. You can see the relation will be always in B or business relation. You can see I am utilizing both the places at the same place. And over here with one you want to have as parent. Over here we can say parent ID. And over here we can say it as child ID. And you can see the foreign key in the hierarchy and the relationship type. These are also getting created as a relationship for having it in relation. You go ahead state. And the same, we can go ahead and see it in schema. All the relations are being created over here. And in the same way, we will be having all the attributes. Once we are done creating the relationship type and relationship entity object, then we will go ahead and create types of them. What are the types of record it will be storing? We will say that it will be having manager. Over here, what are the other things? Everything. We have to go ahead and let's say blue color icon. We just have this. We will just utilize this. Everything these icons are over here. We will go ahead and save it. It will be created over here. All these things are there. We created a manager type. We will go ahead and create a over here. It is fine if you go ahead and have a space in the code. Then we are stating that there would be a developer as well. Why I am going with green? Because two relationships like over here. What we are trying to do is manager is directly pointing to lead and lead is pointing to developer. Like that kind of a thing, because these two you can go ahead and use it in the child object as well. That one single manager is having how many leads, it will showcase you. What we are trying to go over here is how many managers will be there. One manager is having how many leads. It will be showcased in a tree-based structure in a hierarchical way. In Hub's console, you will see like this. One would be like this and the other would be going like downwards over here. The other would be going like this. It is a left to approach. But in E360, with all that which they have gone ahead and done, it will be a top-down approach, a proper hierarchical way. We will go ahead and create one more. We are saying that in this particular entity object, there will be three types of people, which will be there. In the hierarchy, we will be creating a hierarchy, and we will say it has employees, OP. Organizational resources. We can see that. And we can add hierarchy. That particular hierarchy will not be going inside it. It will be created as a separate of the outside. Like this, we have a tree structure. In hierarchies, there is no tree structure. There is hierarchy, and all the hierarchy is listed down as child. There is only parent and child. We don't have a parent and child and grandchild like 11. But in the entity types and in relationship types, we can go ahead and we can go with as many level as we want. Over here, we will be creating separate relationships. From this to this, there would be a relationship. From this to this, there would be a relationship. From if there would be anything afterwards. All those relationships will be created separately. Over here, we will be creating a relationship type. It would be entity 1 to entity 2. It would be from manager to team lead. From entity 1 to entity 2. If we want to have a direction any other way, we can go ahead and do in all these directions. Which hierarchies we are having? Any hierarchies, all that particular relationship type which we are stating. That relationship type will be utilized by which hierarchy? We will say manager to lead. And we can have I didn't pick any colors. This will be my color. And we will say that the same way we will go ahead, create another relationship type which will be from team lead to developer. Now I have put in these two cases. But how we will be seeing that these three will be connected like this? Because over here, these two are two different relationship types. all these things once we are done. Later on, we will be creating queries. There are 4 steps which we did. First, we created the objects for entity. Then we created the relationship object. Then we created relationship type and the entity types and the hierarchy. Not for 5 steps. 5 steps are first. Create your entity objects. Second is create relationship objects. Third, we can go ahead and create hierarchy. You have to create entity type. And fifth, you have to create relationship type. Once these 5 steps are done, then for using it in Hub console, you have to create for each relationship type. Queries for each. Or you can just directly put a relationship type. Objects. Query. Help. The RBA objects which we went ahead and created. All these queries will be having what packages? If I will go over here in the hierarchy manager, you will see there are no profiles which have been added for this user account. For adding that into the profiles, you can see there is a default profile which doesn't have anything. We will go ahead. We will add a profile. In this one, once you go ahead and add, we will go ahead and add both the relationship and we will say it will add complete set of things in this particular. Let's see. All these things comes over here. If you want to go ahead and add it in the entity, once you add it over here, it will say that you don't have any. The hierarchy manager configuration is not complete. Problems have not been configured for OAID object, and there are no attributes. We can go ahead and add any data. And nothing over here and nothing in this one as well. For this one to be created, we first need in the schema. We need all the attributes which will be here. These are relationship objects. But in the employees, I need to go ahead and create attributes. Let's see. And we have a type. Type means if that particular employee is a manager or team lead or a developer. Same way in the relationship. We have these, we will type, and all those things are there. We will just go over here and we will now try to add. What is this thing? the package has not been configured. For all that, we need to have the package for all the tables. Then we will be able to do it. I will go ahead and give you the entire queries and packages for the hierarchy. If you want to go ahead and utilize them, we will go ahead and create one and record over here. We will create a record over here and we will go ahead and add a relationship between this particular entity and this particular entity. And we will select which particular relationship type we are going ahead and create. Is it for this manager to lead or to lead to developer? Which particular relationship type we are trying to go ahead and add. And we will see that particular area in this section as left to. We won't see any top to down approach. We will see from left to. That is what it is used for. Second thing, which is this relationship type, is utilized for this network diagram. Now, what is network diagram? Network diagram is, you can state it as a mesh architecture where it is utilized for product type. And you can set relationships like this product is related to electronics, and in electronics there will be multiple products which will be there. And also we can go ahead and see what all accessories you can buy it for. And that would be a mesh kind of thing. It's not a hierarchy. Your electronics and then your XYZ electronic item can be in a hierarchy, but a product's accessory is never in the hierarchy. All those are in the same level. That is a mesh. Then we go ahead and create your accessories. Accessories can be there. A related other electronic item might be there. Those are certain number of areas where you can state that. Network diagram will be utilized. I would say with this, we are good with the hub console. The only parts which we will be touching later on will be, I'll just give you the queries and showcase how this thing will work and adapt to the manager. But other than that, what is remaining is roles, how we create that and how we are going ahead and giving the access. Second thing which will be remaining is batch viewer and batch group. How we'll go ahead and utilize those. Third thing will be exports and imports by repository manager. Could you just give an idea on the data manager and merge manager also? Of course, we have seen it being used in our projects. Data manager, I can just showcase you. I think we have created for all those. For party, there is a party package. We created the queries and packages. It is utilized for adding the records. You can see this one. I can go ahead and create the records from over here. As we have it on the state management, I can go ahead and select which particular state it should be. I'll just go ahead and state it as, let's say, we'll go with pending. I haven't created the relationship. Let me just go ahead and create a quick relationship for gender because we already have gender. Relationship being a relationship for gender. And here we go. we'll just go ahead and utilize that. We'll add. We have to reload it. It should have given me this kind of an object. Why it is not giving me? I have to check. Let's reload the entire database. As we have other trust as well. We can utilize any of these. We can go ahead and set what is the trust code which we are trying to override. Basically, we can override any trust code from over here. And you can see over here. What is a reference entity is we are seeing now like this. Once we'll be going ahead and creating an entity. This data will be created. We can go ahead and see over here. This one is coming in with a consolidation indicator of code. And there is offset indicator -1, basically 0. Cross-reference. You can see the same thing. Pride object 1, pride object 2 and object 3. Then in history label, we are seeing the same thing. History cross-reference will be having the same data. Now we'll go ahead and create one more. Anything, let's say. The registry ID is same. Vendor up status, that's it. Again. And we'll set active. Now I cannot go ahead and change the system names. I'll just go ahead. Second report is being added. Now we'll go ahead and edit this particular report. Which we just created. How to update the consolidation indicator. There is no interest for this particular table. Over here. This is the history table. We can go ahead and see. Then this is for editing the record. Adding the record. Just set the record state. We have to go ahead and set it as delete. And we can set it, but why it is not giving me to activate it? We can set it for promote. I have to go ahead and promote it. But this is something I'm a little. In the xref, I have to go ahead and promote this record. From the base object, I cannot go ahead and do. In the cross-reference, I have utilized a couple of different things. I have console data manager from very long time now. To be honest, to change the state. from base object. As you can see, we can only go ahead and delete it. Soft delete the record. Whereas from cross-reference, we can change the state to active. Once we go ahead and change the state over here, this should be over here in the cross-reference history table. You can see there are two records which are being created for the single row ID object which we discussed. From now on, if I'll go ahead and change any data, it will be creating an extra record for me. But in cross-reference, you will only see two data which will be there. One is with the substrate indicator 1 and the other one is 0 with the building. In history, we will see three records, 1 and 1. Cross-reference history also, we saw that there were three records. etc. Correct. That is basically what is. You can see the other part is if I go ahead and create one more attribute, let's say with the active, we'll go ahead and say it as this is the status, gender is and status is active. Now you can see that there are two white attributes, or I would say two white columns. And the other one is yellow. In Data Manager, if there is any record which is pending, it will showcase us as a yellow. For this one, we have to go ahead and set the status as active. If I go ahead and do a state as inactive for this, once the data is active, go ahead and do a delete. Once the state becomes delete, you can see it over here in the history cross-reference. You can see the second which was being created. For third, I created third as directly as 1. And I just went ahead with delete. Same thing will be over here in the history table also. We can change that again to active. That is something which we can do for a soft delete record. For doing a purge, we cannot do purge from over here. Purge means hard delete. Purge, you cannot do it from over here. For doing a purge, we have to go ahead and set the delete flags. And then we have to execute the records for deletion. Basically, your data manager is not created to do any purging. That is why. Now we will go ahead and add some entries as well. Ajay, just one more thing. Here you are selecting the package. It is just a query to pull which all columns or if you have any conditions. Whatever we are writing in the query, whatever we have wrote in the query, that will be utilized for this package. That put doesn't have any significance. Put package is when you go ahead and create the package. When the package is, when we went ahead, we created a package which was package. We have to enable the put. Only those packages which have an enable put will be only utilized over here. I mean in Data Manager or in the Data Manager or also in the Merge Manager. Merge Manager, you can go ahead and see that. If I have to go ahead over here, base it, which base object I want to check merge package. We have to go ahead and select the put package for the purchase because we cannot create. In the packages when we went ahead, it's just put. There is no merging for anything. Put means any edit. If I use this one, any records which are being assigned will be showcased. Which party we need to use for checking that? We'll see. Any records which are merged or being gone into manual merge space. We'll see them over here. We'll select all those tables. The data, it will showcase over here what is the match data for that. Over here, it will showcase what is the trust for this particular table, the data and all. And we can go ahead and merge the data from over here. It's basically utilized by the users. I think Shelpa has lost the audio. She just got disconnected. Any question, Anish over here? Anish Oma? No, for me it's clear. We'll just go ahead and add an address. Welcome back, Shelpa. Got disconnected. No problem. When we go ahead, you can see party IDs over here. Now you'll see IDs over here. We can go ahead and change these things as well. How we can go ahead and change these things? Relationship for address. And this party ID. You see over here, lookup display name. If we go ahead and change it to first name, close and save it. Just see what it will do for us. It's disconnected, that the data manager gets disconnected and gets loaded back again. In the data manager, I'll go ahead and use this display package. Once I go ahead and create now, you will see things. What's the difference? What happens when we select the lookup display name? Same concept is utilized in provisioning tool as well. Now taking multiple times a name as provisioning tool. Now what is provisioning tool? I think I have explained earlier that that is a module which is utilized to create the UI for the users. Let's go ahead and add. We don't have any country. We just add city. Let's see. I would say I'm trying to get this active. We need another report with our next one, I think. You can see the IDs over here. You can see the body ID over here is with 1. Let's say this time we'll just say we are not going ahead and creating a screen completely. This is the party ID 2, party ID 1. We'll just go ahead and edit it with the last one. Dual. Party is coming as 1. I think we need to change this to 3. That there would be some changes. I'll just go ahead and set up the demonstration. We can go ahead and change the names. I'm trying to go ahead and run the merge job as well. I'm going to change the name. Should be 2. That means stemming as 1. We can go ahead and add the last name. I'll go ahead and add it as well. Let me know if I'm going way too fast. Or if that is. You guys are able to hold what I'm trying to do. We are changing. Look up this planning. I mean whatever we are seeing when we go through the query or choose a query. Here we are seeing here, only that will change. This party I correct. But in the backend you can see that party ID is still the row ID object. Correct. I understood it is just for showcasing it there. There are 2 party IDs. One is this one and the other one is s_party ID. This is coming from row ID itself. How I can say that? We'll just go ahead and see that. Just say that. Basically now we will be having one as 1 and the other one as 2. We have created yesterday one match rule. The match rule was that either the registry ID should be same or the address, person, name and registry ID. These things should be there. Correct. Let's make it this as top, otherwise the registry ID This particular part will go ahead and match, and it will go ahead and get the match row IDs and records, all those things in the backend tables. This will be treated as first rule. Go ahead, say it. I just updated the priority that first it has to check this one. Later on it has to check the registry. Because we added the address as well, and in the address we changed the street from street to SC. This is the changes which we did. This is not exact. This is somewhere probabilistic. Now, we'll just go ahead. How to run match job. We'll go over here in the patch viewer. For the party table, we'll go ahead and run match job as we have created. Be a party. We'll go into match. Or we can directly run match in AutoArch. You can see over here default. We are seeing three things. Default is duplicate, but still I'm going ahead and selecting the duplicate and will just go ahead and execute. What all jobs it will go ahead and execute. It will generate the tokens. It will go ahead and match. It will go ahead and auto-RCH. These three jobs will be run simultaneously, one after the other. It will execute. To check if the job is done, we'll just refresh. Once this icon will convert itself into a tick, that means it's been. 3 records were broken. There was nothing which went into match and match. Because there was, I think we didn't enable it. Dynamic match analysis threshold was disabled. And I forgot to enable it. At the end, what we got over here is still this. In the party table, I'll just show this one thing. All the consolidation indicators becomes 2. What is our match table holds? Nothing. But we will be having the tokens which will be generated. Tokens should be in strip table. Here, this is a key or a data which is a token. This is a key. This is the token. This is the entire data widget. What we have chosen to create, which all key and call. The history ID was exact. It converted that into some other data. Whereas all the other data was a fuzzy match. You can see the data is exactly the same which it was. And it will be creating the tokens out of it. These things, we can see it in match key distribution. How to remove those keys will be in over here. There will be a clean stir. It will go ahead and clean all the tokens which are generated. It is done. And when we go ahead and see this table will be, I think this should be cleaned. Why did it print the header? I have less idea. It went complete. Staff table should be cleaned up. and it did. You can go ahead and set it as 1. The other way, it can go ahead and see. Any changes in match and merge will go ahead and remove everything. But the tokens are still there. I have to check why the tokens are not being deleted. It is basically no more records to match because the consolidation indicator for all the records are 2 over here. I just changed that table. It shouldn't have run my job. Something is wrong over here. We can go ahead and run back again. And I didn't complete the threshold. I didn't complete the threshold. We will go ahead and see all these things later on as well. Once we will go ahead and add the data. I just forgot to update the acceptance limit. That was exact. It should have matched. Why the data is not merging? I have to check. Because the record 1 and record 2. These things should have gone through. Because the registry ID, the second row, should go ahead and merge those 2 records. This is something which I have to check through why it is not going ahead and merging it. Because there is nothing which we have gone ahead and done which it should not be. Something like that. It should have gone ahead and merged. I will take a look in the configuration again. And we will see if there would be anything which have been lost. Add strategy. We have changed the threshold. I don't think there's anything which needs to be updated over here. We will see that thing on Monday again. I will just check it out why it is not merging the records. Otherwise, it should have merged with these records. The other part which I am worried about is the population file which is there. That it is not populated or something. I will check this thing out with my team. Even after going ahead with all the configurations, why my data was not getting merged together? Because it is not even going into manual merge. It is not doing anything for us. You can see these all records are there which went into merge and merge. This one and this one. This record and this record should have merged together. If you want to go ahead and merge, I have to check this record that why it didn't went into it. I am sorry about this. I didn't thought it won't merge. Because we have exact same. We don't have the registry ID as exact. My fault. And over here I am just thinking why it didn't got matched. Oh, it is 36 over there. That's the data. And over here I was just thinking why it didn't match. The data is not exact. My fault. Sorry about that. I didn't check that. I thought that I put the data according to that only, but the next one I didn't. Anyways, I think Mihar dropped off. Can you just check if Mihar is coming back or he has some emergency task or something? I will just check it because we can go ahead and add the data later on as well. That I can go ahead and start the introduction about provisioning tool, what and how we will be going ahead and seeing a provisioning tool. From Monday onwards, I set up some data for us to go ahead and load. First thing in the start. And we'll have some data which will be going ahead and merging and matching and merging. Once we have the data in, we'll be starting from the beginning. I'll be just having the data in CSV format or a text format or an Excel format, something like that. Or if I'll be having it, then I'll be having it in SQL insert queries. Basically, we normally do not go ahead and run each job. We always run a batch group. I'll give you both the things that if we have to go ahead and run the stage, load if you are going ahead and running the match and merge. Normally, I mean everything we will be kind of, if you say in ETL terms, kind of a workflow we will create under this batch group and that will be pooled. That batch group will be going ahead and creating all the batch jobs which we are seeing over here for each table. We can go ahead and create a batch group in which we can put a workflow kind of a thing. I can go ahead and create a batch group for you. No issue. We'll say party load. In this you can see start and finish. In between all the things will be added. Level below. Any table. If you go ahead and select all these, jobs are being taken up. You just go ahead. Select what you want to go ahead and select. Let's say from C Raman, and if you want to have two jobs run at the same level in parallel, we'll just say add jobs to this level. In the same level, I can have another job. Now there is a concept of force update. These are the load. I added the load. I needed to add the stage job. Always remember that I don't have the mapping. Until and unless I have the mapping, I cannot go ahead and add the staging. You can see that over here, these are the stage jobs. I didn't create the mappings. That's why there are no stage jobs. When a stage job is created, whenever there is a mapping which is created, if you just go ahead and create a landing table, it will not create anything. But if you go ahead and create a mapping between landing and staging, it will create a stage process for you. If you go ahead and create a staging table, it will go ahead and create a load job for you. That is the mechanism. Let's say if we are going with all the tables for the stage, we'll just go ahead and add both those things together. Later on, for this particular part, we'll go ahead and do a add level below. We'll go ahead and load from here. Load jobs should be always one after the other. Load jobs should not be parallel. All the stage jobs should be in parallel. No, if you have 5 different stage jobs, you go ahead and put 5 different stage jobs, not more than that. If you have more than that, then make it first and second level on that. 5 means we are running 5 parallel threads on the database. And with that, if there are certain number of GT calls which are getting done, or if there are any UIT changes which are getting done by that particular time, as let's say it's a near to real time. What will happen at that time would be your performance issue would be coming up. We don't never go ahead and put more than 5 separate stage jobs in the same step. More than 5, not at all, will go ahead and state that it is required. Load jobs will be always in parent and child format. But if there are 2 staging tables, one and the second, we'll never go ahead and put both of them together. And this particular part will be coming up only when there is a data from both the source system coming at the same time. Suppose if I take part N at this table, we have C, RAM and SAPI, then there will be 4 load jobs. Correct. All these 4 will be executing one after another. First thing would be starting up with the stage. All those will be starting together. And then once they are completed, this job will be starting. After this will be starting, and after this I need my address to be loaded from CROM. Then I need my address from SAPI to be loaded. That is how we go ahead and do it, and this particular load from both the source system is only when you are getting from both the source at the same time. If you are getting one source at one time, then never create your group like this. Always create 2 separate groups, one for CROM and one for SAPA. You mean like today, if I am loading the data and if I don't have CRM, then don't go with this batch which covers SAPI also. Correct. What we do in that part is this is when we have both the data, which is coming from sources together. If we do not have anything like this, then we always choose according to sources. We will be like state jobs for CRM, then load job for CRM. Then load job. Like this, we will be going ahead and doing. Then we will be going ahead and doing a match and merge. There is one way we can go ahead and do match and merge directly. We use this. This is a complete load part. That is how we go ahead and add. The staging tables will be all together. Load job will be parent child and then on and on. And we always have a separate group for all the lookup tables. This batch groups, whatever you are creating, will be scheduled, or like how it will be running, like is it scheduled from the MDM, or are we connecting from the Informatica to run this? We are not connecting the Informatica or scheduling. Now scheduling can be done from any MDM tool. Till yet, there is no scheduling mechanism from MDM from any tool. Even just Informatica, even in IBM's TIBO TP course earlier, there is no TIB course anymore. If you go with the Rialto, if you go with any other MDM tool, there is no scheduling mechanism. All the scheduling is done outside MDM. And that is done via cron title, any kind of schedulers. And that is where your CLI commands are needed or comes into being. Can you be more clear, like CLI commands find which tool we are using? Over here, we do not have a cron, as cron is utilized in Unix. Then there is a title. It's an application, third-party application, which can be installed on Unix as well as Windows. On those, we go ahead and use the command line interface to run those jobs. I can go ahead and the commands which I was going at and stating. You can see all the documents. This resource set will be utilized. You can see all these are. This will be utilized to execute stage batch. We mostly utilize stage group batch group. This batch group is basically like this. This particular name will go ahead and change over here in the batch group. And we'll put the username and the password. And wherever our resource kit to trigger it is there. We'll go to that particular job or that particular location, and then we go ahead and run this particular command. This resource kit is always given by Informatica. Whenever there is an installed version, you can go ahead and see it in Informatica /mdm/resource kit. And over there would be a file which will be a sh file shell script. Over there, you go ahead and execute that with this entire set of values parameters. That will go ahead and run the proper. See over here, they have stated execute batch jobs over here. They have gone ahead and run status. Connection properties path. That is how we'll be getting a path. We'll go ahead over there and we'll run that. All these jobs are over here. And give you this link over here itself. This will be useful for you whenever you go ahead and use it for scheduling. And only this will be utilized in a scheduler. Any scheduler, whatever, you will be utilizing at your customer's premises. 9% of the people utilize Tidal or Cron. At 10% go with their own schedulers or something else in the entire. Which are coming? Those are coming back to force update. What do you mean by force update? Force update means even if there is no update in any attribute. Still, I want to go ahead and update the latest update time. I can use force update. Force update makes the record to update. Even if there is a single attribute which is last updated needs to be updated. There is nothing else which needs to be updated to. The record may go into no action. Once we will be loading the data, I'll showcase you those scenarios as well where we go ahead. And in most of the cases, people utilize whenever there is a batch load, people utilize force update as enabled. Because that gives an upper hand over any data which is going for staging, not go into no action. No action means there is no exit update, there is no view update, there is nothing which is being updated for that particular record. Can we use this, like you said, for CRAMN and SAP? It should be two different. If CRAMN data is not coming today, if it is not coming today, suppose in that case, can we use this force update that CRAM and SAP will both run? And CRAM, just what? You are stating that my data for SAP is not there. Let's say now in my table, even in my staging table or my learning table, there is no data. Still, if I go ahead and do a load from CRAM, it will run. If I go ahead and run with the force update repair run with no force update, we'll just go ahead and state that entire things are 0. It does not affect, but the problem with that would be the earlier data which might be there in staging table will get updated. If a person has gone ahead and updated our record, then the earlier record which came from SAP will get updated again. It will be an update. It won't be a revert because revert means it would be in a pending and the person or the manager or someone is canceling that update. It would be treated as an update on that particular attribute. Whenever we go ahead and design the ETL site, push the landing. At that time, we would be knowing that what will be the frequency of load that is handled always in the ETL. What we do is in that area where you're stating in the ETL, we have something called as SQL transformation. In that we see if my count is 0, which has been inserted into landing table, then a SQL job will run which will delete or delete. Call the delete functionality or just go ahead and run a delete SQL to clean up the stage environment. or the stage table. For that particular stage table, that entire staging table will be deleted. You can utilize the same batch group for both the loads, because even if the load or the data is not coming up, this is being showcased over here. Because there was no tables as well. That's why I just went ahead and didn't start. Even if there won't be any data, it will go ahead and remove the data from the stage table. There will be zero data which will be there. Your entire thing which will be done or will be showcased for that particular data in a batch viewer or in the control, it will showcase as zero over everywhere. It will go ahead and just run. Let's say run this one. I just have to go over here. There is nothing which is there. I'll just go ahead and refresh everything. You can see what all tables are going ahead. And it's done. And my complete tables are in showcase over here. It would be something like this. Via SIP, which was not coming. This one, and this one. It will be treated as exactly same. Force update. When you're using support, some data is utilized. Let's say there were 5 records, which needs to be updated. In that 3 records which came in was exactly the same how it was. Just the last update date was changed. This is not a useful column for me, because if my user attributes are not updated for me, that means what should I do with it? It's fine. Because the data which was updated was at this. My agent has to be there. Hence my child came in. For a potential integrity. Correct. Child was updated. For my potential integrity check between stage table, my parent has to come in. That is a must at that point. Correct. Got it. But in my parent there is nothing which is safe. I'll go ahead and force update. It will go ahead and update the latest last date, last updated date attribute. And it will change nothing for that particular record. And the record will not go into no action. It will go as an update. Got it. Got it. That is where force update is good. Second way is whenever we go ahead and create reference tables. Reference tables are not usually updated as frequently. We go ahead and create unique attributes. Whenever we go ahead and create unique attributes, there is a problem with Informatica. We can go ahead and try to update that particular record. And the unique attribute, basically, you won't change it. Sometimes it will go ahead and send that particular record, even if there is an update in that particular attribute. It will send the entire data into no action. When we go ahead and use the force update, it has to update that particular data, whatever is there. Whenever we use to update any reference table, we make sure that we go ahead with the force update. Because there are multiple unique records over there. And if any single report is coming up with a minor change in any description or anything, it won't let you update that. Then you have to go with the force update. And two, you're telling the tool that I don't care what your program is written. I need those data to be updated. Even if it is same, I need those data to be there inside. Simply that. Perfect. There are only 8 minutes which are left. I'll just go ahead quickly. Whenever we go ahead and want to use provisioning tool or E360. From user standpoint or from the level standpoint, I would say the best recommendation, which has been stated always, is to use incognito. The only reason behind it is these two. Both are utilize the cache to go ahead and fetch the entire configuration from the cache itself. If the data or the cache has not been released. Whenever you go ahead and run it next time as well, it doesn't try to go ahead and fetch the new configuration. It will fetch if it will be present in your cache. Sometimes this tool has a very good ability to make you frustrated without having any issues. It's a very good quality in this particular tool. And that is something that users will go ahead and bug you with because they don't try to go with the private. Whenever you go ahead and utilize it, always remember to go into incognito and then use the provisioning tool. This is what something your provisioning tool will look like. We'll go ahead and select the database, whatever we want. I just went ahead and updated. Perfect. It will be needing to clean up the component instance. I thought that it would be still there. The others, this one, this will not be having any issues. But my CMX over is having issues because the earlier configuration which you went ahead and cleaned up, that changes are not being there in cleaned up in CMX over this. But in sample over this, we didn't clean up anything. There would be certain number of things which will be there. If I go ahead, it will still say that it is having some problem because there would be multiple business entities which will be going ahead and giving us its issues. I will be cleaning up all those things that we can have a fresh start from my side. But there won't be any configuration which will be there. Over here, what all things will be going ahead, and these are basically the charts. These are just the information, nothing else. You can go ahead and click as many times as you want. This is nothing. Hierarchy designer and network designer is something which they have gone ahead and added in the 10.4 architecture or provisioning tool. Charts is something they stated that they went ahead and added it. But still there are certain number of issues which are coming up in 10.4. They are clearing up those things. Elasticsearch Index, they have gone ahead and enhanced it. This configuration is in the back end when we go ahead and install it. I will just showcase you how it will be seen. If you go over here in the process server, you can see over here as search over here. This is enabled. And this Elasticsearch will be seen. If there would be any extra node will be added up. Index setting is there, but there is no cluster which is being created for that. Elasticsearch is enabled, but there is no extra or a separate server for it. That is something which we will be seeing over here. Everything which is over here, we will see there would be either a new functionality which they have added or which they want to showcase that this is something which we added for you guys, or something which they went ahead and enhanced the performance of it. Everything which our developer has to go ahead and create will be in this. And over here, except this one, this one, this one. Mostly this one as well. These are one-time utilization only. Infrastructure setting is done by admin people in the initial part of the MDM, and they go ahead and install the product. Whereas these we will be working on multiple at multiple levels. For from in starting and enhancements in many cases. This is where we will be going ahead and creating the physical model of a physical model to showcase on UI. Because we created over here the physical model, we have already created. We will be creating a physical model over here according to what is the requirement. Why I created an entity object with 3 different types of entities? Because over here I will showcase that how it will be look like. And we go ahead and create 3 different logical entities on that physical entity. And it will be treated as a physical entity to go ahead and create the records for employees in separate sections. Entire provisioning tool is only to create UI for the users to manipulate the data. For a website, kind of a look and feel. That's the job of provisioning tool. It takes the help of the configuration which we created in Hub Console. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@therightuptalk.com.